first of all, he understands the role that he has now. He understands that he is the starting quarterback at this moment. So I feel like, you know, he kind of brings that with him to practice, you know, knowing that he has to have that leadership. He's the captain of our team.
Here he's saying. I get what he's
JJ has to have that leadership. He's the captain of our team. Chase, is fascinating. The Minnesota Vikings were on the brink of a potential Super Bowl run last year, the way they had that season, 14 wins with Sam Darnold at quarterback. Now they're trusting a 14-win team to the hands of not just a rookie, I would suggest, somebody that hasn't played a snap, but somebody that missed the entirety of last season with injury. Are they putting too much faith in their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy?
You know, the more I think about it, I think it's probably the right level of trust. Because if you look at it, he was drafted 10th overall in the first round last year. And we've said this stat before, I've said this stat before. Since 2020, if you average out the weeks that starters have played, first-round rookies, it's week 3. So technically, stats-wise, he would have been starting last year at some point. Yeah. Now, Sam Darnold went on to have a magical season. They won 14 games. It was the most wins since the franchise had 15 in 1998. So they had a great year. But you look at how this roster is constructed, and it starts at the top with the Coach of the Year in Kevin O'Connell. They really don't have a weakness on their entire roster. You look at what they're able to do offensively. They go out, they sign Jordan Mason. They already have Aaron Jones, T.J. Hawkinson, the best receiver in football. You heard him talk, Jordan Addison. And then you go defensively, where they are stacked, man. 33 turnovers generated last season. They take the ball away, so they get their offense the ball back. I say all this. Now, the quarterback, he's not going to be the problem, but he is going to be an issue in terms of you don't have the experience. And there's going to be growing pains as rookies. Not every quarterback is going to have a season like Jaden Daniels did last year. True. In this Minnesota Vikings team, they are a Ferrari. They have one of the best rosters in all of football, and they are dialed in, coming off one of the best seasons they've had. Now, you have an inexperienced driver driving it, but with the help of Kevin O'Connell, with the help of Jordan Jefferson, with the help of, or Justin Jefferson, with the help of everyone else, I do believe it's the right amount of faith. Now, there were these rumblings, hey, can they go out there, can they get Aaron Rodgers? They wouldn't put him in this situation if they didn't trust him and believe in the team around him. So I think it's just the right amount of faith.
I think it's way too much faith. But even more than the faith, Chase, I think it's way too much pressure. Sam Darnold was playing with house money last year. He wasn't supposed to be the starter. He wasn't supposed to be good, and the Vikings weren't supposed to be all that good. Now, all of a sudden, he's starting. They're good. Even if Sam Darnold had underachieved, nobody would have faulted him. We all make fun of Sam Darnold for having seen ghosts as a rookie. Like, nobody thought that highly of Sam Darnold. He was playing with house money. J.J. McCarthy, you're playing with somebody else's money. That's when you're under the most pressure. When somebody says, hey, big dog, can I give you this $100? Can you flip it for me? Now you're really under pressure because somebody's entrusting you with their money. A 14-win team is what you're being entrusted with. And not only that, you didn't play last year. But beyond not playing last year, you've been hurt. So you probably weren't even on the field. It's one thing if you're not playing, but you're leading practice squad. You're not playing, but you're doing scout team for the opposing team. You're not only not playing, but you're not even going through the mechanics that a player would have to go through during the course of the regular season. And beyond that, you weren't that good in college compared to the rest of that quarterback class. Weren't you, Chase, help me out here, 5th quarterback taken?
Yeah, 5th.
I think he was the 5th quarterback taken. So it's not as though you were even that great in college. You weren't the feature of your college team. That was Blake Corum. You weren't the feature player of your college team. That was a running-based offense. So I just think for a team that is built to win right now, like you built to win right now, and you're putting this much faith and this much pressure on a kid that ain't played no snaps and was hurt all last season. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
How can y'all sit up here and talk like that? You know where they came from?
Where they come from? Sam
Darnold. That's where they came from. And you talking like this? Like, you guys are no faith. I see why God is tripping in the Bible. Because it's like, yo, I just showed you all these miracles and you still don't believe.
Still don't believe.
The Vikings go from Sam Darnold. Yeah. Oh my, they give him the keys. Oh, you're not brave. You got to be to do that. Hey, here's the keys, yo. Look, just take your time, drive. And then he does well. And now, J.J. McCarthy, y'all have no faith in him? Listen, if you listen to the video that J.J. just talked about, he said he's the guy now. He has to understand what's really going on. As in, now you started and you got me as your wide receiver, right? I make anybody look good. I remember when they were going through the contract situation with with last year, and it was like, who's going to be the quarterback? Is it going to be Sam Darnold or who's going to be? And JJ said, honestly, man, I don't care who the quarterback is, right? Because I'm who I am.
Yeah.
And you get a young quarterback like this that hasn't played yet, he always can get better and better and better. If I just tell you these numbers for a second. So one quarterback in 7 years, right? He's had like 16,000 yards. He's had 70. Because I'm gonna get
Darnold.
I want to get the right numbers. I don't want y'all to trip. So in 7 years, he's had 98 touchdowns. He's had 70 picks. But one season with the Vikings, you had 35 touchdowns. So that's almost close to half, almost, okay? So when I look at it, yo, you've been bad your whole career. Bad, awful, bad. Now you in the backup role. Now you just grabbing Gatorade and clipboards.
All right, I'm sorry. This is as deep as I can go with this clip because this is just brutal. Guys, we always just continue to have the wrong conversation with all of this. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm not even going to touch the whole Sam Darnold thing right now because we've done that so many times, and we can just focus on the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy. It's one thing if Sam Darnold was still like on the roster, then I could understand. We can kind of like, and they were saying, oh, we were going to start JJ this season, and Sam's going to be, QB2. Like, then I could understand. But like, let's just leave that in the past now. It's okay. It's a new season, so like, let's just focus on JJ. And this question already is absurd. Are the Vikings putting too much faith in JJ McCarthy? Who's pretending like they're going to be asking JJ McCarthy to just carry this team from the jump? Like I don't even understand. And they're saying like, oh, you're playing with house money and now you're playing with someone else's money. Hey, flip this $100. There's more pressure. This is a 14-win team. Blah 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 blah. First off, like, anyone knows that the way this all works is that it's so rare that you have a 14-win team, a 15-win team, and then the following year you just repeat that, and then repeat that, and then repeat that. I mean, like, it just doesn't happen. I mean, if you're a great team over the years, over like 4, 5, 6 years, you're going to fluctuate between like 12 wins, a 13-win team. Maybe you get really hot and you get a 15-win. Then you get back down to like 11, 12. Like, it's always fluctuating a little bit. So like this idea of like, okay, they won 14 wins and now it's just like, boom, that's what it is. Anything less than that and it's a failure. Like, you're the ones that are creating too much pressure around this situation than need be. Now, do I think some of the players know what they were able to do, and the coaching staff for that matter, know what they were able to accomplish the year before? So they have this barometer? Absolutely. And I think that if JJ struggles more so than obviously the franchise would have wanted to deal with, yeah, then you're going to get some people who are going to be annoyed and frustrated, right? Like if JJ McCarthy is going through true rookie growing pains, which he will. He's to what degree we have no idea, but he's going. Chase brought up Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels had growing pains. Jaden Daniels had really bad moments. He had a slow start. I mean, like, I'm not going to act like he was an absolute disaster, then turned into great, but like, it's not like he absolutely hit the ground running. He got better and better and better, and he still had games where you had some moments when you were like, oh. Like, even in some games where he played unbelievable and was the hero, like against the Philadelphia Eagles in the second game, I mean, he had like one of the worst interceptions I saw all year in the fourth quarter. Like, he was giving that game away. That game was lost. The Eagles lost it, and they had a backup quarterback. So one of his best moments was really gifted to him. That opportunity was gifted to him via the Philadelphia Eagles. So, it's not hard to imagine that JJ McCarthy is going to have his own brand of struggles throughout the season. But it's not like anyone... It's one thing if you had the sense that Sam Darnold carried this team, like it was like a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson type situation, and now they're saying, hey, JJ, please do the same thing, then that would be putting too much faith in JJ. That would be putting too much pressure on JJ. I mean, it's just, I don't know. And I'm going to be doing another video because I saw for the herd. I haven't watched the clip yet, but I saw the thumbnail. It's got to be clickbait. It's got to be something because it's like J.J. McCarthy, the next Josh Allen. Listen, I've defended J.J. McCarthy. I'm high on J.J. McCarthy. I'm excited to see J.J. McCarthy. Calling him the next Josh Allen is like pretty crazy. Let's just be real about that. But that'll be a different video. But I mean, Acho's whole rant about all the negatives about J.J. McCarthy or who he hasn't been in this or that. It's like he's shown to be a leader, right? Like just because I mean, like, this is what I always find so funny because we have so many quarterbacks in college that were asked to just like throw a ton, do a ton, and they end up not being much of anything in the NFL. And then we have a quarterback who was the quarterback of a great team with Harbaugh, who Harbaugh obviously wanted, and won a national championship with. And because of the way how the structure of the team operated, you just want to automatically doubt J.J. McCarthy. And again, I've already done a deep dive on that kind of nonsense and pointed out why some of his stats were a little bit lower, and you know, he most games he didn't need to throw the ball that much. It's not like there were games where they needed him to really step up and be you know, a bigger impact on the offense, and then he just couldn't, or Harbaugh didn't trust him. Like that's just not the case. It was just the fact that this was a great team and they only needed so much out of him, and he passed that with flying colors. So much about being a great quarterback is just minimizing mistakes. That's such an under-discussed aspect of football. Is like, just don't mess things up. I mean, just look at backup quarterbacks. Watch any backup quarterback. Watch how they can all do some great stuff. Pretty much every single backup quarterback ever can have plays that are just as great as the other great, like the actual great starting quarterbacks. They all have those flashes. They all have those moments, but they lack the consistency, of course, and they just put themselves in situations more often than they should where they just mess things up. They make mistakes. They just mess things up. And if you just minimize that alone, like, I'm pretty confident, if you just didn't make mistakes at a high volume, and if you just minimize mistakes altogether, you will consistently be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Will you be able to carry your team? Will you be able to set records? Will you be able to have like those cartoon highlights where you're just like, oh my God, that was one of the greatest plays I've ever seen? Probably not. But if you minimize mistakes and just don't mess things up for your team and execute the offense as envisioned by your head coach, offensive coordinator, whoever it may be, there will always be a spot for you. Always, always, always. But backup quarterbacks have some of the moments when they can ball and they're doing great, but then they always mess things up, and then they mess things up again, and then again. And then they play really good, and then they mess up again and again. And it's like, well, we can't have you mess things up too much. You mess things up too much. You hold on the ball when you shouldn't. You throw interceptions when we can't have it. You miss a wide open look down the field when it's just like we only have so many moments when we can get someone wide open. When they're open, you better hit them. Like, you just mess things up. You make things harder for the team. So that alone is its own superpower in a lot of ways. So even if J.J. McCarthy has only proven that in college, and that's it, that already is worth an insane amount in the NFL. An insane amount. I mean, I do think that if this team gets off to a little bit of a slower start and J.J. McCarthy is kind of having his growing pains, I think there's absolute room for some of the teammates, you know, Justin Jefferson, et cetera, to be like a little frustrated, a little bit annoyed, a little bit of like, man, because like I always talk about this. You have these players on this team, like, they're not here for J.J. McCarthy's journey. They're there for their own journey. They're the main character in their own movie. And it is a balance because it's team, but like no one's here to be like, all right, we got to give the rookie a chance, or we got to just wait for him to develop. It's like kind of like, nah. And so I do think that the success that you had the year before does put some pressure in general on J.J. McCarthy. But this idea that, you know, the Vikings are now putting too much faith in him, I just like or they're putting the pressure on him individually. It's just like that is where I feel like we kind of get lost in it more so than need be. You know, because this is also coming off the comment of Justin Jefferson saying, you know, he's the captain of our team, and it's like, well, of course, he's the quarterback. He's the quarterback. Like that fundamentally makes sense. I think Kevin O'Connell will put him in a great position to succeed, and I think this roster is great, and I don't think they're going to rely so heavily on him. If he comes out the gate and he's throwing 35, 40 times a game, game after game after game, and we ask this question, are the Vikings putting too much faith or too much pressure on JJ? Then like, yeah, that's the conversation to be had in that moment of time. But like, I just, to me, this just feels so forced and manufactured, honestly. It really does. So, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. And it's so disingenuous with all the stuff about Sam Darnold, and I'm trying so hard to not go on a whole rant about that, but just even the rant, that's why I had to stop it when he was like going off through the stats and stuff like that. Like the Minnesota Vikings was the first team that the first like actual competent team that Sam Darnold was able to actually start for. And he had an insane amount of success. It's not his fault for not being able to succeed with the Carolina Panthers and the New York Jets. And when he was given an opportunity with Shanahan and the 49ers, he played really well. In a very limited, you know, he had very limited opportunity, but he played very well. There's a reason why Shanahan wanted him, and then why Kevin O'Connell wanted him. And they gave him real money. They gave him the amount of money that a starting quarterback would get, like a lower level starting quarterback, but not a backup quarterback. They're typically not paying the amount of money that they paid Sam Darnold just as a straight up backup. So, and again, now we're like inventing scenarios where like JJ was going to be starting by week 3. Like it just, you start to just make up nonsense right now. And it's just like, won't have any of it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Minnesota Vikings? Are they putting too much faith in JJ McCarthy? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.